Well, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are already subscribed, this video, as per the title, is a review of this backpack which I've used for many years now. It's a Thunder 50 by Exped. I've been asked a couple of occasions now via some private messages whether I would review this pack. I've had it for around 3.5–4 years. I got it from my friends over at Valley and Peak, and my thinking behind it was that I wanted something a bit more lightweight. I wanted to try and reduce the overall pack weight. I still haven't reached those goals. That's not a reflection on this pack, more of a reflection on my inability to be a lightweight wild camper. So it's been a while since I've reviewed any rucksacks on the channel. I do tend to go into a lot of detail, so if you're not interested in the Thunder 50 pack by Exped, this definitely isn't a video for you. But if you are, and if that's the reason you're here, stay tuned and I'll go through every feature and aspect of the pack. I've used it many wild camps. I'll tell you about the good and the bad. I've got no affiliation to Exped whatsoever. Just very quick headline figures. It weighs just a shade over 1.5 kilos. And it's designed to carry loads, well, a maximum of 24 kilos. There's no way in the world that you're going to want to carry anything like that with this rucksack, but I've used it with loads up to around 17 kilos with no issues whatsoever in terms of comfort and making sure that the hip belt is nicely transferring that weight to your hip. So yeah, we'll look at all the features in a bit more detail. We'll go and put the pack somewhere where I can show it off, and as always, if you've got any questions about it, something I haven't mentioned, let me know below and I'll get back to you. So let's dive in a little bit more detail. So starting with the material of the pack, it's a 210 denier ripstop nylon. It's PU coated and it's rated in terms of waterproofing. It's got a 1500mm hydrostatic head. I would always use a rucksack cover just for belt and braces there, but they are just the headline specs of the material. It's got this kind of plasticky finish to it. That might not be to everyone's taste, but I like it. I think first of all, it's a very good looking pack from Exped. So if we look at the main stretch mesh pocket on the front of this pack, sometimes with this kind of material, this stretchy mesh, there can be some question marks with regard to durability. This has never torn. I've had jackets in here, I've had bits of camping equipment in here, I've had rubbish in here, hard objects, soft clothing, and it's got no tears. You know, the bit of branding on there, it's not peeled or anything like that. So in terms of durability of this mesh, that's been really good. It's really accommodating, so you can get your wet outdoor jackets in there, your tent flight sheets, things like that, but that's nice and durable, and that is good to see. On each side of the pack, it's the same material, very roomy mesh side pockets with an elasticated top band there, and that will easily accommodate a 1 litre Nalgene bottle with ease, with room to spare. You've got a compression strap which sits behind that, and a compression strap a little bit higher up. You turn the pack over the other side, the same is replicated, exact same material, compression strap behind and higher up on the pack. So if we look at the base of the pack, it's got this slightly thicker material here. Again, nice and waterproof, no real signs of abrasion. Bear in mind that's after, you know, 3.5–4 years use. You've got these loops, 2 here, 2 on the opposite side, and that allows you to use a bit of bungee cord or straps for those of you that like to keep little bits of gear on the base of your pack. If we turn the pack over and we look at the lid, that is replicated here also. You've got 2 loops on one side, 2 loops on the other, just for adding a little bit of cordage if you want to store items, wet items, jackets, some of the lighter bits of gear you might be carrying on top of the pack. So the lid is really spacious. You can see you've got these chunky zipper pulls with these little glow-in-the-dark inserts. That's really handy when you're scrabbling around at night to get things out your pack, or if it's dark in the morning. And each side of the zip has these little tabs which you can get hold of, which just makes it easier to pull sometimes if the fabric was not packed as much. The zip can not pull so freely, but if you get hold of this tab, it just maintains a bit of tension, and likewise when you're doing the zip back up. So just these little details show attention to the smaller things which really matter, which can really annoy you and be like niggly on a camp. So that is nice to see. In terms of the storage in there, it's absolutely massive. It goes down the back here, so you've got a little bit of space for, I normally put like toothpaste, toothbrushes, spork, things like that. And then you've got loads of room, really generous, right the way to the front of that lid there. So plenty of storage in the lid of the pack. Now, seeing as though we're looking at this side, you've got a grab handle there, nice and robust. There's no signs of any tearing or anything like that. So again, really well put together in that aspect. So the back system on the Thunder 50, you've got these nicely padded straps. There really is some good cushioning in there, and it's really comfortable. Like I say, I always pack on the heavy side, and I've always found this pack to be nice and comfortable to wear. You've got your load lifting straps with lots of adjustment there. You've got some buckles on here. You've got your sternum strap, which is easily adjustable on this sliding piece of plastic, which is sewn in. The stitching and the quality, we'll go into an even deeper dive a little bit later on in the video, but it's really good. Elasticated loops here for those of you that like to use carabiners and clip bits of gear on. It is hydration compatible. So there's one of the openings for the hydration bladder. You've actually got exactly the same on the other side of the pack. So it's nice and ambidextrous, if I can use that word to describe a rucksack. But again, just nice. A lot of packs, again, you've only got the one, but Exped have thought, and you've got one on each side. So the hip belt, really comfortable. You've got two zipped pockets on each side, and this is one of the few packs I own where you can operate that while still wearing the pack. Sometimes they're quite far back, and to try and tuck your arms back behind you, it's quite difficult. Not so on this. You've got a bit of stretchy mesh on the base and the main pack material on the upper, but again, nice chunky zipper pulls, easy to operate with gloves on, with the glow in the dark inserts. Absolutely the same on the other side. In terms of your adjustments, you've got a nice easy to operate buckle. You've got some elastic loops just to keep the straps tidy in the wind, stop them flapping around, and you've got the additional straps here just on the first part of the waist belt, just to make sure it hugs in when you've got your adjustments set to exactly what you want. So in terms of adjusting the height of this pack, you can see there is an aluminium bar which runs down the length of this pack. It's just hidden away there behind this adjustment strap. The harness system, I've just moved the camera up a little bit, slides up and down on this bar. Now, the only thing that changes that is the adjustment, which is all hidden behind this main part. Now, just on that does come out nicely, and there's a good bit of thickness in that, so it's nice and comfortable on the base of your spine and around your hips, but that also has the added effect of allowing nice airflow. It's really, although there's no mesh here whatsoever, the fact that this is so thick, there's a nice gap which allows some airflow, and that really does work. So in terms of adjusting, you've just got a bit of Velcro here. I've got that set perfectly to me, so I'm not going to change this. It's just simply a case of there's a buckle on the back, either shortening or lengthening that. It goes all the way from large down to small, and all that does is reduce the amount of movement in the harness system and shortens or lengthens the back system as you require. I've got that absolutely dialed in perfectly, but nice and quick and easy. Just the Velcro. Once you've got it set to what you want, close it back up and you're good to go. It's not going anywhere. Now the lid on the pack, we've obviously got the front adjustments, which I'll show you soon, but it is totally floating. You've got these adjusters which allow the lid to raise or lower depending on how much you've got packed in here. Again, once you've got your load in there, just get it dialed in for exactly what you need. and then again it just holds everything nice and securely. So I'm just trying to show you the thickness of those shoulder straps, really nice and robust and chunky. And you've got this nice soft touch material on the underside, again with a lot of pad in there which goes over your shoulders. This is a really comfortable pack when in use. So just showing you the size of the pack, Exped have sewn in a bit of elastic here, which means despite how full your pack is, certainly around the top, it's going to pull nice and flush on each side. It just stops wind getting in, keeps your contents safe, and just keeps the pack looking nice and streamlined. So now we'll have a look inside the pack, how we're going to get access. Now you can see you've got these aluminium buckles. That's what Exped use to keep the weight down on this pack. I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail and give my thoughts, but they just hook on, one on each side, and that's how quick it is just to undo that and get inside the pack. So just pulling that lid back, you've got another pocket in the base of this lid. Hopefully this is in shot. Again, you've got the same system where you've got a tab on one side and a tab on the other, and it just allows you to keep that tension so that you can operate the zip smoothly. So again, further items can be stored on the underside of the lid. So if we keep that out the way, you've got a compression strap on the top. Just unhook that, and you've got the ability to, there's a plastic loop, and it just stops the lid falling down. You don't have to use that, but it's easily removable just via this plastic clip there. We've got a nice generous snow valance. Again, you can really overpack this if you need to. Just a bit of a toggle and elastic, and I've just got some cushions in here just for the purposes of this review to give it some volume. But nice quality, nice attention to detail. Again, glow in the dark insert just there. You've also got an additional toggle there once you've nicely packed, just to give it a bit of tension just around the very top of the pack. So 50 litre pack. I don't intend to show you inside, avoid, but it stores quite a lot. Again, I've got a couple of cushions in there just to give it some volume, but you can really overpack this if you need to. You can use that floating lid to give yourself a little bit more breathing space, but a 50 litre pack should be more than enough for one couple of night trips. I only usually do one night camping trip, so for me it's absolutely fine. Loads of space there. Don't forget the additional space on the front of the pack via this mesh storage pocket. On the front of the pack we've got loops with elastic and a really simple toggle system for trekking poles. You can put one on each side. We've got loops on the base that can be used for an ice axe as well, or two axes, but really simple system. There's just a loop of bungee, clips in there, and it just tightens with one hand. I'm just demonstrating the size of these side pockets, the side mesh pockets. 1 litre Nalgene bottle here goes in absolutely with ease. You've got a lot of room to spare there. You can get like a smaller bottle as well, other bits and bobs. That's absolutely great. Now just on these side pockets, you've got like this adjustment system with these also. You've got a length of daisy chain webbing which goes down each side of the front of the pack, and you've got these plastic clips like a bit of a T, so you can move this higher or lower depending on the items you want to pack. Really simple operation, quick to make adjustments on the go, but again, if you've got taller items you can simply choose the next loop up in the daisy chain and then just adjust that as necessary. Slightly constrained in that on the rear you've only got the 2 points, but still you can't go any higher up on the back of it, but you can just give yourself a little bit more breathing room if you've got, for example, something a little bit taller. And don't forget the compression straps which run behind this pocket also, so you can either stuff your bottles behind that or in front of that as you see fit. So in terms of gaining access to the pack, there's 3 different ways. Obviously via the top opening, and to close that back down you've obviously got these little fasteners here. Again, the daisy chain which runs down the front of the pack, You've got loads of different possibilities and loops for additional carabiners, but these hooks, just hook it through the daisy chain and tighten that back up, and that is how you secure the lid on this pack. You've got loads of different options, and you've got loads of fabric to spare. One thing which Exped do with their packs is they have a bit of Velcro which you can use. It's just another loop on the loop of the fabric, which can keep that excess material tidy, stops it flapping round, and when you want a bit more material to play with, just undo the Velcro and give yourself a bit more as you need. The second way you can get into the pack, and don't forget you can do this on both sides because it's ambidextrous. You've got the compression straps, just undo that, and the side access goes under this front panel. You've got this flapper material, a little bit of Velcro, and there we can get access to each side. Zip that back up, turn the pack around, do exactly the same on the other side. So you know you've packed it, you've got something on one side or the other. Everything you do, you can do to each side of this pack. And again, these compression straps use the same system. The aluminium hook, cinch that back up. And the final way in which you can get access to the contents of your pack is the whole front will come off. So we've got a little bit of Velcro just on the front there, and the whole pack. If you take the compression straps off, the whole pack, the front of it opens up. So that's really handy for getting your kit out. You could either pack this way in reverse, but it's really versatile. So the three options: gear in through the top as per usual, one side, the other side, or complete and utter removal of this front panel. Just zips down and you've got your zips and Velcro to cinch it all back up. Really quick. Fasten the Velcro back up and we're good, back to go. Another important feature to note is the ability to use the compression straps. I'm not going to do it right now, but you can set them to the longest length, and the compression straps can come around the front of the pack. Don't forget that's for the top compression straps and the lower compression straps. They can attach to each other and tighten up, so if you've got a roll mat, a closed cell foam mat, something of that nature, your jacket, you can use the compression straps. Instead of it keeping it tight, it can compress against each other. And I'll try and find a graphic to illustrate what I'm talking about, but yeah, you can store your mats, other items on the front of the pack, and use the compression straps just to keep them nice and secure too. So just demonstrating, is the pack on in use, nice and comfy, easy to adjust on the fly, no faffing around there. The waist belt, it's right on the top of my hip bone there, so it's perfectly set up for me. Like I said, on some packs it's always a struggle to get in the pockets, but it's absolutely fine. I can zip it, the zip doesn't snag, and get in there again because those zipper pulls, I'm not looking, but I can locate it. Same on the other side, easy to locate because of the chunky pulls, and yeah, I can still access that with ease. Sternum strap, nice and generous here. Again, it's got those Velcro sort of tidies on it, so you've not got flaps of material. The diet's not really working out yet, but yeah, it's a nice pack. It's nice and slim, nice slim profile. You know, you can maintain agility with it if you're on some more technical treks or some more technical terrain, or trying to get through gates here in the UK. So the things which I don't like as much, these hooks can be a little bit fiddly. It can take a bit of getting used to. So you've got these loops here for loosening them up. They're nice and generous for operating them with gloves. But those here who are used to traditional chunky rucksack sort of fasteners. The buckles, these can be a little bit, you know, you've got to make sure it's located. I mean, once you get the hang of it, it's absolutely fine. But it takes, you know, if you're coming from the traditional system of the plastic buckles, it takes a little bit of getting used to. So it can be a little bit fiddly, but it's minimal and it's a weight saving design. So you either love it or hate it. I don't mind it. You know, it's just, again, something that you've got to get used to. Again, these sort of excess sort of fabric, the way you can roll that up, some people might not like that. You don't have to use it. You can have the straps dangling. You know, you might find that a little bit fiddly, faffing around with that, but, you know, most of the time, you're not really in a rush when you're outdoors. You might not like the look of those hanging off, but again, probably that all comes down to personal preference. Now, the other minor niggle or annoyance I've found with this pack is, in the back here, there's an aluminium rod, so it acts like a T. So you've got going across horizontally, and you've got the main support of the pack, which we've seen when we looked at the back system. So they interact in kind of a T, and that is the support for this pack. Now, you can remove that. I'm not going to undo it all, but on the inside of the pack, just behind where the hydration bladder is, there's a little flap of material held on with some Velcro. But if you see here, that's one end of that bar. Now I'll zoom in, and you might be able to see I've had a little tiny bit of black marker because that is quite sharp. It's an aluminium rod. There's an end cap on there, but all told, it's fairly sharp. So what that I've been doing is rubbing against this, you know, when you've got a load on over many years, and it's very slightly slated to discolour this from the outside of the material. So what I've done is I've removed it. You can remove it in seconds, and I got some gaffer tape, Gorilla Tape. I've just gone round a couple of times on the ends just to take off that edge, and now that's completely solved that issue. And again, it might just be cosmetic, but I think over many years you might find it wears parts of that fabric, so it's just something to be aware of. It's got an easy workaround. Take it out, just protect the ends with some tape, and that has solved that. But that's the only other sort of niggle that I've found with this pack over many years. So that's it. That sums up my review of the Thunder 50 by Exped. Nice and comfortable, that's the main thing for me. Good airflow, like I say, with the thickness of the padding on the back, that has a nice channel for the air to flow, and that really does work. Nice materials used. Again, it's not for everyone. Bit of a plasticky look to it, but it is water resistant to 1500mm hydrostatic head on that material there. I would always never rely on that, and I would always have a rucksack cover, but for light rain, light on and off showers, you're probably not going to need to bother with that. Nice and versatile in terms of how you can access your contents, be the top lid, one side, the other side, or the whole front of the pack comes off. That can be really handy if you want to pack away in a sort of modular fashion. You use those packing cubes and things like that. You've got loops on the base, like I said, so you can add some bungee cordage just for attaching things like your tent to the base of your pack if you want to do that, or, you know, sleep mats and things like that. Again, don't forget that you can take the compression straps from the sides, put them to the longest extent, and you can use that to attach items to the front of the pack over and above using the mesh pocket. I've had packs from other brands. Again, I'm not affiliated to any rucksack brands whatsoever. I've had Osprey packs where the mesh has got holes in it and tears, but this really has been nice and robust. There's loads of room in that top lid, loads of room for items of clothing, some of your lighter bits and bobs, and don't forget you've also got the pocket in the base of the lid too. So if you want something which is really well made, it's relatively lightweight, the stitching, the quality of the fabrics, the way it's put together is second to none. It really is a premium brand, Exped. So it's not the cheapest, but if you want something, like I say, this has lasted 3.5 to 4 years, and it's showing very little signs of wear, so it's been nice and robust. The back system, easily adjustable again, with the Velcro adjustments like I've showed you earlier on in the video. Nice and generous pockets on the hip belt, And overall, I just think it's a really nice pack. The only minor niggles which I've outlined, you know, some people might find the buckles a little bit fiddly. You've got to sort of have a reasonable degree of dexterity to operate those, certainly in cold and windy conditions. But they're minimalist. They're designed to keep the weight down. They've been designed like that to keep it as light as possible. A little bit of adjustment on the side pouches, again, comes in handy. And they also do this in a women's fit as well, which is designed to fit a women's frame better than this, which is the men's version. I've not seen too many reviews of this online, and just to emphasise, I bought this with my own cash many years ago, treated myself for it for a birthday present, and I've used it in many different conditions and on lots of different wild camps. So hopefully that's helped anyone out who's looking at purchasing the pack. If you've got any questions, let me know. And you can follow MCM Outdoors on Instagram also. There's more bits and pieces and there's ways to reach out in kind of messaging on a Instagram community on there. So thanks for watching, hope it's helped you out, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.